Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Welcome everyone. أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. ربنا آتنا في الدنيا حسنة وفي الآخرة حسنة وقنا عذاب النار. ربنا اغفر لنا ولوالدينا وللمؤمنين يوم يقوم الحساب برحمتك يا أرحم الراحمين. ربنا هب لنا من أزواجنا وذرياتنا قرة أعين واجعلنا للمتقين إماما. رب اجعل هذا البلد آمنا وجنبني وبني أن نعبد الأصنام. وصل اللهم على محمد وعلى آله وأصحابه وأتباعه وسلم. ربنا اغفر لنا وارحمنا وأنت خير الراحمين آمين والحمد لله رب العالمين. Inshallah, with the grace of Allah, we are starting the section Yasin, which is very, very well known among the Muslims who are familiar with the Qur'an, and they recite it on almost every day. Some of them on special occasions. Always they believe that it is a source of blessing. So, since it is also described by the Prophet as the heart of the Quran, as far as I remember, if I am not mistaken and confusing with other sections of the Quran, but it is important. The Yasin section of the Quran was revealed in the 5th year of the message, the prophetic mission. We have to understand, we have to remember that 5th year of the message is the year when the people around him started taking notice of him seriously and seeing some sort of, according to their understanding, a source of confusion among the people's in the minds of the people around them, because they were happy with their status, especially the chieftains, the nobles of the tribe. But now this person comes out and claims lots of strange things according to them. They were not very much aware of what religion sent by God is all about. They didn't know much. They must have heard something about the Christians, especially in Habesh, which is Ethiopia nowadays, in that area, and Confucianism is spread on the eastern coast of the Arabian Peninsula. Under the influence of that time Pars civilization. Now it is known as Iran. So they were taking some sort of precautions and slowly approaching to the Prophet, saying that stop doing this. It is causing, of course, according to them, it is causing conflict and a kind of division in their tribe, and also claiming something very unprecedented for them. They were not heard anything about about this kind of matters. So the message starts with the description of their ancestors, saying that they were not warned their ancestors were not warned. It means they have not been receiving message almost thousands of years. Yes, in the neighboring area, far away neighboring area, people were familiar with Moses, Jesus, and also God's revelation, but Central Arabian Peninsula, which is called as uh, Hijaz, in this area, there were no religion really. So their ancestors were not warned. So they say the Quran starts with this. Look, yeah, we know that your ancestors were not born and you were not born into some sort of familiar terminologies, familiar traditions. So they were lost, but are you also willing to be lost among the lost people? So they were some sort of foreigners or strangers to this prophetic message or God's message, God's guidance to human beings. That is reminded, not in great detail, but some sort of introduction to the section, this section. Then we see that a kind of heavily reminder, not altogether, but as compared with the previous verses or sections of the Quran revealed before this section, the Quran was emphasizing on some sort of human values and not untrustable nature of creation. They can be destroyed anytime, and also reminding slowly that they will be responsible for their choices or usage of their free will. So it was a kind of preparation of the minds of the addressee that, yes, this word is really very shaky in its nature. They cannot, the word cannot really cannot be taken as stable in its existence. So it continues giving some news about the hereafter, hell, some sort of description of hell life, but very brief, very, if you like, as compared with the other sections of the Quran, which was to be revealed later on in great detail. These are just preliminary, introductory information we hear in this section. So the description of the hereafter is a kind of just really not in great details, but warning them they will definitely be responsible for their life here, and they will be surprised when they were resurrected. And in the last section of the Quran, almost a page, detailed explanation of the Quran, how God creates the world, reveals what is the evidence for them to believe in the hereafter. So almost a page, a quarter of this section was devoted to this subject, gives evidence, asks reason, asks people to use their reason, and a kind of simple example is drawn in the last section, and saying that, look, the one who does this can not do the same thing again. It is already doing it in front of your eyes. and saying that because, explaining because the one who created the universe, if you look and carefully and examine it, you will understand that in order to be able to create this universe, one has to have an absolute will, and he doesn't really have any limitations, and his power is, again, limitless. So he can do that, and he knows what he is doing, this kind of descriptions, and with these descriptions, the section ends. So it is what the general presentation of the section can be done in a simple way and a brief way. So we can continue to the, okay, just a minute, please. Nope. So I lost this one. So, all right. Okay. I lost it. Okay. Now, verse first is the most amazing aspect of the Quran is these letters of the Quran mentioned mostly at the mention of, not all, I think, at the beginnings of some sections, but quite a number of sections in the Quran introduce the subject with letters. It is so interesting. Ya, seen. It means two letters, as if you can say in English, Y and S. Y and S. What does it mean? So almost, I don't know that there is an exception. Maybe there is. I think one or two exceptions. Yeah. And in one of them, I remember, but maybe two as well. So I didn't really count it. Exceptions, all those huruf al-muqatta, it means independent letters. Doesn't make sense. You cannot read this, for example, yeah, seen as yes or use or in another way. You cannot make a word out of it. It is letters. So scholars made enormous effort to make sense of these letters, which starts most of the, or quite a number of sections of the Quran starts like this. Kafa, ya, ain. No one makes any sense out of it, literally reading, but definitely they are there. And of course, the Prophet has no way that this doesn't make sense, especially that his enemies is going to criticize that. What do you mean by just saying the letters? This is God's word. What is that? A, B, or A, R. What does it mean? so, so if some scholars said that if the Prophet was going to hide anything from the Quran, from the revelation, it would be with some others as well. There are a lot of criticism of the Prophet himself in the Quran. A lot of means really more than expected. Not many, but more than expected. Maybe one, two, but really more than expected. So he would hide these letters because everybody will ridicule him, saying that, oh, this is God what revealed, the letters A, C. So, but it was obvious that he didn't do that and kept them there. It is interesting. We have to also pay attention to this point. This is an interesting point. But uh, they came up, some of them made, possibilities that this means this means that, lots of them, tens, 20s, different interpretations of it. Of course, no one can claim that this is what exactly the letters are here. As a result of my readings or, reflections on it, I understood that the fact that these letters are used before most of the case descriptions of the Quran. As we see it here as well, Yasin wal Quran al Hakim, and consider this Quran full of wisdom. And why these letters are mentioned at the beginning of the section, and then description of the Quran, introduction of the Quran, qualities of the Quran are mentioned immediately afterwards. So, like everyone, I also kept thinking, what could be? What could be? Yes, scholar says something, but somehow no one can claim, like I cannot claim either, that this is what it really means. What I understood from some terminology I learned from my teacher, that the universe, not the subject is the Quran, but the universe should be understood in terms of the meaning of letters. What does it mean? So it is called ma'na'ul harfi. Ma'na'u harfi. What does it mean? Harf. Now, this scholar says the universe must be read in such a way that you will look at the thing, at anything, not for the sake of it at all, but for the sake of it conveys the message in its existence. That is definitely an interesting approach to the universe. It means you shouldn't look at each being in the universe as saying, this is a bird, this is a bird. No. Take it as a letter. By itself, it doesn't mean anything, but it can be used in any word. It means an atom or a bird can be used in a setting of other letters and utilize that, referring to the qualities of their creator. As an individual beings in the universe doesn't have any meaning, but they are used to be employed in a word or sentence to make meaningful sentences or words. So in and of themselves, they have no significance, but they are employed. Now, this is what the universe must be read. But when it comes to the Quran, my personal conviction is this, that each word, each letter, I'm sorry, doesn't have in and of itself a meaning, but it must be used in meaningful, or these letters must be used in the meaningful words and therefore sentences. So when it says Yasin, look, don't look at the Quran because Quran al-Hakim. Afterwards, it refers to the Quran. Don't look at this book. Just reading that, for example, inneke leminel murselin. What does it mean? You are one of the messengers. No. It refers to a certain deep meaning that you have to go into this meaning letter by letter. So introducing the letter saying that, as if in a summary, I will conclude this, read this Quran letter by letter, so precise in its construction, in the meaning that they carry, letter by letter. For example, Quranul Hakim. No, Hakim. Why? Why the why? Yeah, Yasin, yeah, is included here, or Hakam without any yeah. It makes really a great difference. So letter by letter, even this, we call it hareke. There is a word for it in English, but very technical word, only literary people know it. I don't know, but when I read it, I understand what they mean. Sorry. Yeah. Even the hareke, maybe hakim, maybe another way of reading it, it is important. For example, Quran, they say that comes from qara'eh, but in the form that not qara'eh, but Quran, it means furqan, ghufran, like in this form, it emphasizes on the capacity and importance of the content of this word. It means consider the Quran, it means recitation, reciting. Some people say even just reading in the written form, but it is qira'ah, not the Quran. So when putting the alif here and making it in this form using another letter there, it becomes Quran is intensively read. The book which is intensively read, carefully read, changes the meaning. For example, Ghafur is different from that. Ghafir is forgiver. Ghafur is continuously forgiver. Ghufran is generously, always forgiving one. As the letter of the word changes, meaning changes greatly. So that is why this made sense to me that this huruf muqatta'at, it means these letters, independent letters, separately, cannot make it a sentence or word with it, cannot read it as a word. You have to read it, kaf, ha, ya, ayn. It is not a word. If each of them is K, H, Y, and there is no ayn in Arabic. So let's say, but we cannot say A, but it is another word that doesn't exist in English. So there is no word in English for this ayin. You cannot read it as this. It means, again, as a summary, I understand that this book that I am going to, diacritical. So, hey, thank you very much. Thank you. Welcome, by the way. So diacritical also has Oh, great change. They make great change in the meaning of the word. So not only letters, but this diacritical nature of the Quran is or must be taken seriously. This understanding somehow, inshallah, makes sense for me because all the letters almost always, with one or two exceptions, as I mentioned earlier, followed by the Quran. In one way or another, we're describing the Quran with different qualities. Not all of them will Quran al-Hakim, will Quran al-Aziz, with this kind of Aziz al-Hakim. There are, I remember there is a verse like this, well, Quran al-Aziz al-Hakim, Tanzilum min Rabbil Alameen. Like this, uh, as we will see it in this section as well, different qualities of the Quran mentioned there, but before letters are introduced. This is what I got from this verse 1. It is very, yeah, if you read the classical scholars, mashallah, yeah, you admire them, how sincere they were in trying to understand the Quran, how much effort they made. May Allah be pleased with all of them. So great effort, unimaginable possibilities they came up with the meaning, maybe meaning of these letters being in the Quran. So why are they there? What did they signify? What is the point in it? This is the wisdom in it. Uh, yeah, that is what I understood using the correspondence between how the universe must be read, how the Quran must be read. Universe must be read really single point, and whether the smallest, slightest position of a thing is really very important to be taken, because any position of a thing in the whole entirety of the order of the universe makes another meaning. So you can see an atom is employed, or can be employed in the body of trillions of different kinds of creatures, and atom works there perfectly. That is why we have to be very precise in the creation, as well as in reading the Quran, down to the letters of each word and sentence must be taken seriously. Of course, while saying this, Quran challenging the reader, saying that, look, you cannot find any meaningless, even letter, let alone sentence, verse, let alone word, even letter, meaningless, pointless in this book. Be careful. That is what I understood. Although I remember now that some scholars interpreted this independent letters at the beginning of sections. They said this is a call to the reader, be careful. Hey, like this. Hey, I say, what does it mean? Nothing, just to attract the attention. Be careful what I'm going to say. Listen to me, it means. Are they exclamations? I remember reading this among many. Okay, let's go to the Quran Hakim. So we understand that. Oh, sorry. Oh, again. I, sorry. Really, I am very handicapped in this technology. Come back. Okay, here. The most important character of the Quran is introduced in this section as Hakim, wisdom. So read it, try to understand the wisdom in it. This point, this aspect of the Quran is emphasized in this section. So in the following verse, it is interesting, first paying attention or drawing attention to the reader, first verse, be careful, letter by letter. This book has importance letter by letter, and you will find in it nothing but wisdom, no nonsense at all. Okay? İnneki leminel murselin. Now it comes to the prophet now. And what does it say? So you are one of the, definitely you are. Obviously you are inneke, one of the messengers. So definitely, surely you are one of the messengers. It means there were others. There have been many others before you. And combination between the Quran and the messenger says, it is this wisdom of the Quran serves that, or B is an evidence demonstrating that you are not the source of it, but definitely one of the prophets, apostles of God. It means you cannot make this wisdom or illiterate man. This is obvious. So the more powerful in his wisdom becomes a more powerful evidence that the one who brings and delivers this message, transfers this message to people, must be employed messengers, appointed messengers, not the source of it, but the one who carries it, carrier. That is what I understood from it. So, ala siratim mustaqim, definitely on a straight path. Means, yes, definitely you are a appointed person and you are on the right straight path. No curve, no contradiction in you will find in your, or the people will find in your existence. So in your mission, sorry, in your mission. So pay attention to it, and you will understand that if you look at the quality of the message he brings and consistency of the message he presents to you, and it doesn't really contradict the nature of creation, the human nature, so that it is a proof that you are on the right path. But in the following verse, it will be explained that why he is on the straight path. Now let's move. Inshallah. All right. One more. Sorry. Oh, I'm tired of myself. keep making mistakes. in technical terms. So, all right, let's go. Now, why is it happening in this way? Yeah, I can. Okay, keep it here and come here. So, Tenzil al-Aziz al-Rahim. This is a revelation. So what does it mean? Revealed. This is a revealed as a revelation. It means, uh, I don't know, but it is important. As diacritical, we said, is important here. It is not, how do you say, spelled out or diacritical side of it. Tenzilul Aziz Rahim. So it would be a perfect Arabic. But strangely, it doesn't say Tenzilu, but it says Tenzile. What does it mean? There is a verb hidden before it. It refers to the hidden word. It means Tenzil al-Aziz al-Rahim. It is a revelation of the most highly, the most merciful God. Aziz al-Rahim. El-Aziz al-Rahim means God's being most mighty and most merciful. So it means this most mighty and merciful one revealed it to you. So this revelation is revealed to you by the most mighty and merciful God. So it means it didn't just you received it from something else unknown. No, the one who created the universe is sending it to you. So this is important here. I mean, I wrote another here prepared for you another verse in the following one. It makes it clear here. In fact, look, this one. قل إن ضللت فإنما أضل على نفسي وإن اهتديت فبما يوحى إلي ربي إنه سميع قريب. Say it is an obvious declaration by the Prophet or by Allah, but asking the Prophet just convey this message to people. If I go astray, that is my loss. I'm aware of it. If I tell a lie, so I will be the loser. I'm very much aware of it. If I am rightly guided, and if I am on the right way, it is only through what my Lord has revealed to me. If I am right, guided, not because I am a qualified person, a great scholar, a sage, whatever you call them, those people who studied many things and full of knowledge and also intelligent as a result of their smart brain, they will come up with interesting ideas. No, if I am rightly guided, it is only through what my Lord has revealed. That is why Tenzil al-Aziz al-Rahim in section Yasin. My Lord has revealed to me this Qur'an. That is why I am on the right path, straight path. So he innahu sami'un qarib, he is all hearing and ever near, because the one who creates the universe cannot be far away from it. We have to say that the one who's creating it, although because of the nature of creation, the creator is the absolute being, cannot be seen there, but his action, continuously demonstrated action, is in front of my eyes. So that is why the Quran says you are guided just because you received guidance from your creator. Tanzil al-Aziz al-Rahim. This is a revelation from a revelation of the most mighty, the merciful God, so that this is the evidence you are on the straight path, the last verse, tied up with the following verse. It is great to see a little bit on the surface, but somehow more than what the translation says. At least I wanted to share of this side of the Quran as well, because we have been studying the Quran for years. So let's become more and more familiar with the Quran, not on the appearance of it or surface of it, but a little bit deep, inshallah. So the Quran is tanzil. The word is interesting again here, tanzil, not nuzul or nezele. Nezele, you can say nezele tenzil al-aziz al-rahim. So God, Aziz Rahim, or the most mighty, most compassionate one, is revealing it to you. Why? Now we have to go now to the reason. لِتُنْذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. This is very important. Oh, there is something in the chat. Let me see. So what does Yasin mean? I said, in and of itself, it means nothing. That is the significance of it. It is used in a word which makes sense when it is located into a word. So this word must be read carefully, letter by letter. That is what I understood from. So there is no meaning, but it refers to the following verse that the Quran must be read carefully, paying attention to it letter by letter, not word by word, no, letter by letter. I have been trying to explain it. Maybe a bit you will not hear. I don't know. I don't notice who is here. Just I don't I don't check the participants list always though. We studied this at the beginning. So again, another reminder, the second or third time remind in themselves, not having meaning is meaningful. Why? Because I don't have any meaning. I will have a meaning in the location of a word, then the meaning of that word will be clear because of me, if you like. these letters in the beginning of. The meaning of this word will be clear for you because of my standing there. For example, that is Nursi's approach to the universe. If you look at an atom, so this atom, in and of itself, it seems to be meaningless, just alone. That is why the physicists see it as meaningless. Why? Because they study the atom isolated. But none of the atoms stands by itself out there. All of them are employed in a certain position of a certain creation. Then it becomes meaningful. Let me say it clearly. I am going to describe about very simple example. And don't say you keep giving the simple example, the same simple example. I am going to describe a building for you. I say, my friend, come. This is a brick, okay? This is a piece of glass. Yeah, what does it mean? Okay. This is a piece of wood here. Mm-hmm. This is a metal. What are you doing? Oh, pay attention to these materials, each by each. So brick in and of itself is nothing. The wood in and of itself is nothing. Glass is in and of itself nothing. Wood, whatever, all the parts. Sands, for example, in the cement. Yeah. In and of themselves are nothing, but this in and of themselves nothing, but when they are employed in the building itself, they become everything. Where the brick stands, where? That is, Nursi is crazy about it. The creation of the things themselves are not, they are significant because they are given existence. Yeah, but the most significant side of them on the place they are employed. On the place they are employed makes it excellent. That is why materialist people avoid to study the atom in the position they are employed and try to see the function of it as an unconscious, dead, blind being perfectly functioning in the whole body of the building or in the whole body of where they are employed. They become very meaningful. Exactly the same quality. The Quran says, look, this book is made up of letters. If you take these letters alone, doesn't mean anything. But be careful where they are employed, and it becomes a means of incredible capacity of the meaning carrying to you now. Be careful while you are reading this book. That is why these independent letters are most of the time are followed by the descriptions of the Quran as it is here. Yasin, yeah. Oh, what is that? Just a minute. Well, Quran al-Hakim. Oh, you have to see each letter, how it is located in the words of this book, full of wisdom. To me, so far, for the Muqaddat, this Muqaddat, it's a famous subject in the among the exegesis of the Quran. Uh, this is what Nursi suggests makes sense to me. Uh, and it is really important, goes along with the nature of the creation and nature of the Quran as well. So, for the sake of our friend who asked the question, so it became another second explanation. Of course, that is important to keep in mind when we read these independent letters at the beginning of the section. We shouldn't say that they are meaningless. Why am I reading them? They are full of meaning. They indicate, draw the attention of the reader. Say that be careful, be careful. Anyway, I think we are done now. Now the verse 6. لِتُنذِرَ قَوْمًا مَا أُنذِرَ آبَاؤُهُمْ فَهُمْ غَافِلُونَ. To warn a people whose forefathers were not warned, and so they are unaware. Now we came to the subject now. It is difficult for us to change our customary life, inherited life. For a human being, familiarity makes life easy. You become familiar with driving the car, and you don't have to learn it anytime. You just sit at the driver's chair or seat and learn everything from the beginning. No, even without thinking what you are doing, maybe it's speaking on the phone and maybe doing an important business on the phone, through the phone, you drive. Familiarity is very convenient for us. Okay. On the other hand, this familiarity becomes very important when I start a new vehicle to drive. For example, I become a pilot on an airplane. When I stop there, when I really slow down the airplane, when I want to slow down the airplane, my right leg goes to the breaker. But there is no breaker there. So it must be another manual, anything there to slow down the airplane. So it is difficult to change our customary life, accustomed life. So always the prophets are sent to people who are lost in their way. What does it mean? They are they have lost the previous message of the prophets. And this Hijaz area, Central Arabia, more than a millennium, they didn't have this. It's so firmly rooted in their culture, pagan life. So the prophet comes and says, God has employed me. I have to call you to a message which says the nature of this universe is this. You are here for this purpose. There will be another existence after this. What? What are you talking? It is very hard to digest, to welcome. We don't say, we cannot say, oh, it's very interesting. I've never heard this. Let me take it seriously. No, because it says replace your old way of life, a customary way of life, with this way of life. So tribal system must be demolished. Why? What? Impossible for people of that time to take it easily. Only the slaves, poor guys, doesn't have any interest in the status quo of the tribe, already established system of the tribe. They don't have any interest, any benefit at all. They really sincerely, because there is no obstacle for them. Let me take this understanding seriously, whether it really makes me comfortable in my human nature. And they accept it. But these are slaves, poor people, and nobody in the society. But for the nobles of the society, chieftains of the society, leaders of the society, that time was important, poets of the society, it means philosophers of the society, scientists of the society, they are going to lose their status. They will become equal with their slaves. What are you talking about? You must be crazy. So Feriha says, isn't being lost a human condition for even the prophets? That's why revelation was sent. Even the prophet was lost like us. Don't you think so? It's very, very, very, very, how to say, uh, uh, when not right, wrong way of understanding the verse. The prophets were lost like us, but it's not prophets, a human being. Now we have to make the difference between prophet and employee. In the Quran, when you said, when you are lost, we guided you, it means as a human being, if we had not guided you, you would have definitely be lost. That's why, not as a prophet, but any human being definitely will be lost if they are not guided. But of course, we understand that it is nothing to do with the nature of the prophet, but nature of human being. So we should not use the prophet there. That's what I said. It is not really. So everybody is lost, but these people's ancestors, or for 1,000 years, were lost. But we cannot say that these people is so definitely be punished, or that is something else. That depends on God's justice. That depends on God's justice. So those people, as the Quran says here, to warn a people whose forefathers were not warned, and so they are unaware. So they have to be ready to reconsider their accustomed way of life. Uh, so they will think in a new fashion now. Afshan, go ahead.
Dr. Murmur, these you mentioned that the nobles of the society, they rejected the message because they felt that their status was at stake. But had they accepted the message, they would not have lost their wealth. They would not have lost their power. They would have remained chieftains. Why were they so threatened?
You know the status? Don't you see the politicians? Don't you see the politicians? Example, a rich man How many rich man is ready to lose everything and live as a homeless? Or very, very low level. Why do you think these families who are filthy rich, certain families, a number of families, not many, in the world, they never stop. They never stop investing more and more and more. They never say, look, this is enough man for my generation, 10 generations ahead. Let me go and rest. No. This human caprice has no end, especially the status in the society. Even it is even harder to leave behind than wealth. High status in the society. That is why all these dictators thirst of authority and impose themselves on the community until they die. They don't leave it. How many dictators of the countries left their throne, if you like, before they die? Either they were killed or they stay until they die. How many kings left their throne before they die? Hmm? Even by definition, kings don't be replaced until they die. By definition. Why so? Oh, and especially status, especially status. And on top of this, my friend Avshan, it is incredible. The situation is so delicate, so incredible that a, a leader of the tribe, leader of country, is going to follow an orphan, poor, illiterate orphan. And he will say, whatever you say, I'm ready to do. Oh, impossible, impossible, impossible, unless they themselves take notice and submit. Otherwise, as far as the custom of this way of life, and especially this uh, customary life is concerned, they cannot really give up. Difficult, but it doesn't mean impossible. But the more we are self-centric, the more we are really aggressive in our life, the more it becomes difficult to leave it behind. It means during our life, we always, if you like, feed our caprices, and we become really uh, addicted to it. We cannot go back. That's why rich people cannot stop making new investments and big trusts again, swallow the smaller companies, growing companies before they really declare their independence. Why do they do that? They don't want anyone to compete with them. That is human caprice. That is why Quran describes in a very brilliant way that they cannot really satisfy, the human beings cannot be satisfied even they swallow the whole world. This human capacity is so huge. If they want to understand, they understand the absolute being with his all qualities. But if they want to reject, they reject the absolute being and really, if you like, attribute the qualities of the absolute being to themselves. As the scientists now, what do? They attribute the qualities of the creator, attributes of the absolute being creator to matter. Why? They don't want to submit. We have to understand this two sides of the human nature is immense and limitless. So I get excited about the subject, Afshan, but don't think that I am angry with you because you asked this question. It is beautiful. Asking the question reminded me how important the subject is. So we have to pay attention to it. Lastly, correction, Feria says. That is why revelation was sent, okay? Correction. Most humanity is lost unless a change. A chosen person thirsted to be guided is sent revelation to share it with these people. Yeah, thank you. Thank you. Thirsty to be guided. That's what we have to have. Excellent, excellent. Hence, prophets carry the message of God because they are the most thirsty of the message, guidance. It means what makes a man great to be a prophet is his neediness, his thirst for guidance, his declaring nothing, humbleness, declaring nothing. I need, what does it mean existing in this world? The word is my existence. What does it mean? What's going on? That is what makes a person prophet. God says, yeah, you are the thirsty one, the most thirsty one. I will give you the water to you. The excellent comment, Feriha. So we have to understand again. Now, what this particular word, the seven, sorry, six, to warn a people whose forefathers were not warned, and so they are unaware. No, فهم غافلون. It means to me and to you, obviously, to us, look, what you inherited from your ancestors is not important. Take care of yourself. You have to define your own existence. You have to define your own way of life. You have to decide which path are you going to take. That is up to you. Nothing to do with your previous ancestors, whether they are atheists or Buddhists or Christians, but you have to decide what is right for you as an independent, free thinking human being. That is what, so whose people, a people whose forefathers were not warned. It doesn't mean that you will not be warned. Now you are warned now. Don't just keep being stuck to your ancestors. My fathers and mother are very religious, so I am a Muslim. Nothing to do with you. Your fathers are, or mothers, or ancestors are for themselves. You are for yourself. Be careful this. It means inherited culture or inherited values don't have any importance for you. You have to build your own home, saying that this is my father's home and I'm going to stay there. You have to look, is it fitting for you or not? That is a great message we learn from this. Not only talking about Meccans, their forefathers were not warned. No, but this is speaking to me now. I was born in a Muslim family, innocent Muslim family, uneducated, illiterate. My parents were almost. So they were, but I have to take care of my responsibility, like everyone else. I have to decide about my life. So I cannot say that my father is a great scientist. So, are you a scientist? Have you studied? If you have, that's good for you. If you don't, if you haven't, then you cannot be scientist because your father was a scientist. So now, okay, thank you. Thank you, every one of us. We have to now stop here. Maybe this verse is here, the last 7. So لقد حق القول على أكثرهم فهم لا يؤمنون. The verdict has been passed against most of them because they refuse to believe. So not because those people were all people of hell, they are all lost. Yeah, it means this لقد حق القول على أكثرهم, the verdict has been passed against most of them. It means decided that they are doomed. No, not necessarily because فهم لا يؤمنون, because they refuse to believe. It means because they refuse to believe means if I refuse to believe in the reality, if I am not open to confirm the message, then the verdict, it means I am doomed. That is, the verdict has been passed against most of them, means they are doomed. Yeah. So not necessarily referring that the ancestors of the Meccan people, the people of the contemporary people of the Prophet, whose ancestors are all doomed. No, no, no. If they have refused to believe, they are doomed. If they have confirmed the truth as far as universe shows the evidence, as far as their human qualities shows the evidence, because there were no prophetic message. So Allah will decide them, God will decide them what they deserve, but at the same time, the message is for me, not to talk about the ancestors of the Meccan contemporaries of the Prophet, but because, but I understood, I should understand that I'm hurrying. If somebody refuses to believe, they will be doomed. That's what I understood from verse 7. Okay, let me see my notes. Anything more? Yeah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah. Oh, sorry, we are late as usual. Inshallah, I will see you tomorrow in Zoom again at 6 p.m. and or Eastern Time, 6 p.m. Inshallah. And Saturday, next Monday, inshallah. Wassalamu alaikum wa rahmatullah.
Thank you, Doctor.